Go. Yep.
Hi, I'm Aaron Sens, and I'm a fifth-year computer engineer here at the University of Cincinnati. And this is my senior project.
I'm Drew Lenz. I am also a fifth-year computer engineering student at University of Cincinnati. And for Aaron and I's senior design, we made CAPP, the co-op applicant pairing platform.
So basically what this project was meant to solve is that in order to graduate from UC, you have to do 5 co-op rotations, which can be 5 semesters with potentially 5 different employers. So the typical student will have like 2 to 3 employers, and the process to apply for jobs involves going through UC's system called PAL, ranking jobs as interested, and then if you rank enough jobs, hopefully, but not definitely, just hopefully, one job or company will reach out to you and provide you an interview. However, the PAL interface is very clunky, it's very noisy, it's slow, and it's not very intuitive. So that leads us to the goal for this project, Drew.
The goal for this project is twofold. One, we want to provide applicants with an easy-to-use interface that presents jobs and requirements very clearly. Additionally, we want to provide employers with an interface that gives them tools to effectively filter through interested applicants.
So our solution was to develop a web app that helps both applicants and employers. The app is based around a profile feed. For an applicant, they will see a feed of jobs, and for an employer, they will see a feed of applicants that have ranked very interested. Both parties will be able to filter by different categories, such as location, major, best fit skills, or custom keywords. Additionally, the profile card system tries to streamline the noisiness of PAL by showing the top 3 skills of each applicant, and for jobs, maybe the top 3 skills for that too. So basically we just tried to present the most useful information first. And so Drew will take over the tech stack.
So for the process, we wanted to develop a profile system for applicants and jobs. This consists of various attributes that should be associated to the applicant profile, such as their skills, their location, their GPA, and such. After that, we created a database to store this profile information. Once we had a database, an app was designed to interface with this database to pull information and also place information in the database. Once we had that basic functionality down, it was time to develop filtering tools to query relevant entries. This is how companies could see applicants that were interested in them. This is how applicants could find jobs that were best suited to their skills and interests. And then finally, we wanted to display these results in an interactive feed where applicants can apply and employers can contact applicants, and mock-ups of those feeds are shown here on the poster.
So our tech stack is a pretty widely used JavaScript stack. It uses SQL for the database and Express.js built on top of Node for the backend, and then embedded JavaScript with HTML for the front end with Bootstrap. And then the entire stack is deployed with the Yarn package manager. So I'm going to talk about SQL, Express.js, and Embedded.js and Yarn, and Drew will talk about Bootstrap. Alright, SQL database is a standard database. We hosted it in Microsoft SQL, and then hosted that database in Azure, so you could access it from the cloud. SQL databases are standard relational tables, queried with the SQL structured query language. That's how we added data and removed data from the database. And we interface with the SQL database with Express JavaScript using the SQLize package. So that's what the technology that allowed us to create queries to the database online, display data, and the Express JavaScript also served as the point for all user functionality and all website layout with Embedded.js. And finally, Embedded.js is a dependency for Express.js where you can modify views and express JavaScript with HTML using embedded JS. So the embedded comes from the HTML is embedded in the JavaScript, which allows for the use of both technologies for displaying the cards like we have here. So Bootstrap.
So Bootstrap was used to kind of make the user interface look pretty and look usable. Previous versions where it was just the embedded JavaScript, we could pull results returned from the SQL query and just display them as raw text on the web page. However, Bootstrap was used to create this nice looking feed of applicants. Bootstrap is a class that is used very widely for quick user interface styling on web apps. It provides layouts, components, and interactive functionality as well. So I will kind of highlight how some of those came into CAPP. The first is that a profile card is a card class from Bootstrap. It has a header and a body. The entire thing here is the card header. If you click on it to expand it, you will see the card body, which shows additional information about the user profile. So we have this feed which shows the really rough overview. When you click on it, you can expand it and see the card body to see further details such as GPA, school, and other skills that aren't shown on the top 3 skills. The next thing that was used very heavily in CAPP's Bootstrap implementation is buttons. This area of this card header is a button. It's nested inside the card. Every component seen on here is then placed inside the button. This button is what you can click to expand the card. Additionally, this button is an email button to email an applicant. This button would be used for saving a job for later. This button would be used if an applicant was applying to the job, and similar to save it for later. The final use of buttons is to filter across the feed. You can click on one of these to switch what kind of feed from best fit to by major to by location. Finally, the final major Bootstrap component is the use of badges, which are used to highlight the top skills. A badge is basically kind of a colored shape that can surround text and expand to fit the width of text. It's really useful for displaying the skills in this manner. Using embedded JS, we can conditionally determine what color a badge should be. If the top skill that we're displaying on the profile card that matches the top skill we're looking for, we highlight it red as a danger badge. Otherwise, it is highlighted in gray as a secondary badge. This is all generated iteratively in a loop for each entry returned from the SQL query from the route. So because of this, we can have one Bootstrap template and recreate it multiple times using the results from embedded JS.
And finally, all of this is deployed using the Yarn package manager, which is a widely used JavaScript package manager. The most used one is Node package manager, but Yarn has benefits over Node because it allows for a lock file, which locks the version of each dependency, so that as technologies develop, if you're still deploying the same version of the Yarn file, you know that app will work because it locked the versions of each dependency. Additionally, Yarn makes it easy to dynamically update the application. So as I make changes to the website, or as a user makes changes, they can see it live with using the Yarn package manager.
Standards implemented in this app are Babel, which is used to cross-compile JavaScript to ES5 and ES6 standards, which greatly increases the browser compatibility of CAPP. Also, we followed basic HTML5 browser standards and Section 508 IT accessibility standards.
So challenges we faced. As far as implementation goes, the connecting to the database was very difficult because most of the stacks used a MySQL database, and we use Microsoft SQL hosted in Azure. So there were additional leaps and bounds we had to go through to make that work. But I'd say the biggest challenge we had was a design flaw. We started out using Java to build the backend, but then realized that Java would not work. So we switched to JavaScript, about halfway through the semester, and this kind of obviously set us back half a semester. We had to re-engineer and redo everything with a new tech stack. However, it was the right choice because using Java for this project, it would have been a lot different, a lot less functional, and it would have looked bad. And our goal of this project was to make the UI look good. So that's why we ended up switching to JavaScript.
For future work on this project, since we ran out of time, we were not able to fully implement all the functionality that would be needed to turn this into a functioning application, an actual product. The main piece of functionality missing from CAPP in its current beta state is the ability to apply for jobs. That would be a major feature to add and would be implemented most likely as simply as another database table which tracks which applicants apply to which jobs and vice versa. Similarly, saving a job for later would be implemented using a similar kind of table system. From there, applicants could go and see which jobs they applied to and which jobs they saved by pulling their entries from these tables, therefore giving users kind of a history of their usage of the app and also just allowing them to more easily track their job search. In addition to that basic functionality, some minor tweaks could be made to improve CAPP, one of which would be the addition of a custom search bar instead of just the filters that we designed that are kind of default filters. Adding a custom search bar would allow applicants and employers to look for specific skills or specific positions and would just provide a much better access to information for all of our users. And then finally, profiles could be made more robust. One thing that we hope to add for applicants is we can display what classes they have taken, as some employers want to look for students who have taken a computer architecture class or who have taken software engineering class. Being able to have that on your profile would be a really big advantage.
In conclusion, I would say this project is successful. We demonstrated that with not an insane amount of effort, the job search process can be greatly streamlined as far as presentation goes and usability. We both learned a lot about web development and project management as far as what works and what doesn't. Do you have anything to add?
No, I'm good. That was CAPP. That was Senior Design.
This concludes our video presentation. Thanks for watching.